Inquisitor.
First enchanter
I must
Vivienne
return
wishes
to
to register
Valrayo
a
to see
complaint
that
about the
everything is
upholstery in the
in order.
dining hall.
Please join me when you can. I received a letter from the House of Repose, Your Worship. They acknowledge their contract is null and void. There is no longer a price on my life. They also send their compliments on how handily you dispatched their agent pretending to be the Comte.
I'm glad you don't have to live your life looking over your shoulder anymore.
I regret we were forced to deal with them, that you were endangered by my part in the game. Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer?
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I was attending a university in Valroyo when I learned about bards. There was such an air of romance about them. Stories of secrets, trysts, and fascinating people. A group of us, young gentry from Antiva, decided life was for us.
I don't imagine many firstborn heirs join those ranks.
No, I was a rather foolish exception. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard drew a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You were only defending yourself.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
He seemed willing enough to murder you for the game.
Perhaps. I feel I'm the last to judge whether or not he would have actually used the blade. In all the commotion... forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Such a gracious woman deserves nothing less.
Such talk. I'm quite overcome.
Should I stop?
Oh, no. I mean, yes. I meant no, I don't. Well, if you meant to draw a blush to my cheeks, you've completely succeeded. Let's return to Skyhold before anyone notices.
Your worship.
Leliana wished to speak with you, Inquisitor. It seemed rather urgent. Yes?
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
Have you had any trouble with them?
Not at all. I will inform you if that changes.
Cassandra's calmed down. I think you can take your hand off your crossbow.
Define calm down for me in terms of who or what she's punching right now. I wasn't trying to keep secrets. I told the Inquisition everything that seemed important at the time.
I know, Varric. You never would have kept quiet otherwise.
I keep hoping none of this is real. Maybe it's all some bullshit from the Fade and it'll just disappear. I know I need to do better. I'm sorry. Corypheus is back. Oh, shit.
You said he was a Darkspawn or a Magister. What is he really?
I'm not sure. I don't think Corypheus really knows either. He's definitely a Darkspawn, but when we found him, it was pretty obvious he hadn't heard that. He thinks he's a Magister, a priest of Dumat, in fact. He says he broke into the Golden City, like in the Chantry tale.
If you and Hawk defeated him once, we can do it again.
We didn't just think Corypheus was dead. He was dead. No pulse, no breath, full of stab wounds. There wasn't a lot of room for doubt. It makes me wonder. I thought the Wardens imprisoned Corypheus to use him. Maybe they did it because he can't be killed.
How did you and Hawk even wind up in a Grey Warden prison for ancient Darkspawn?
Corypheus sent people after Hawk. He actually got control of an entire Carter clan. Made them drink Darkspawn blood. Weird shit. We tracked the Carter to an old dwarven fort or something in the mountains. Of course, it turned out to be a trap. They needed Hawk's blood to open the locks holding Corypheus, and they drew us into the prison to get it.
Let's hope Corypheus just turns out to be really good at playing dead.
That makes two of us. Maker's breath, what have I let loose?
Brutally murdered is not really the same as unleashed upon the world, Varric.
In this case, it might be. But you've got more important things to do than listen to me worry. Just let me know when you want something shot.
Put that stuff aside. Take a break.
Best advice I've ever heard. I've been meaning to come talk to you anyhow. I never officially joined the Inquisition. I don't know how to do this, disciplehood thing. I'm a businessman. Never really followed a chosen one before.
I don't even know how to deal with all this. Just make something up. It'll be fine.
Oh, so we're saving the world through bullshit now? All right, I can manage that. You just don't know what you are to the people out there. The Herald of Andraste is a symbol bigger than any of us.
There's no way I can be bigger than myself, Varric.
Sure you can. You don't see yourself like they do. The sky tears open, demons everywhere. To ordinary folks, these are the end times. The only hope they have is you. You're the sign that somebody might hear their prayers. That maybe they're not abandoned after all. You heard the crowd singing after Haven was attacked?
Whatever I am to Thedas, I'm still just an ordinary person.
So, just a regular person, like anybody else. Right. I should probably get back to work. Unless, you up for a game of Wicked Grace? What can I do for you, Inquisitor?
find the strangest things, Inquisitor. Interesting altogether, though. Honored, Inquisitor. Gotzi Sturhald. Did my part on the walls, and now I'm on this strange collection you've brought us. Don't know its worth to the fight, exactly, but it's good workmanship.
Any ideas about the origins of these reliefs?
To Vinter, early. It's in the tool marks, the grain. That's hard dust mined from the 100 Pillars, if I know anything. Oh, I suppose the scene is probably full of Tevinter robes, too.
The 100 Pillars?
Damnedest things. Massive spires that aren't stone. It's like a mortar. Don't know more than that. Strong, though.
Where did you learn your skills?
Orzammar. Carved a few statues in my day. And before you ask, yes, I chose to leave. I carved a paragon who turned out to be a sodding madwoman. Couldn't stand looking at it. The memory of a dwarf, right?
Do you have insight into the stories these tiles are supposed to depict?
Tell you what, you finish one, and I'll write it up. Who better, right? A good dwarven perspective.
Another time.
Best of the vein, Inquisitor.
I've got a minute if you need something.
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient tyke, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject. I've got a minute if you need something.
What are your thoughts on the Inquisition?
If there's anybody out there who hasn't joined the Inquisition, they're hiding under a rock. Did you want to take over Ferelden? I think we might be able to conquer it just by looking east.
What do you think of Leliana's work?
Do you want to know what the Arishok had for breakfast this morning? I think she can tell you.
What do you think of our general?
Find him a war or something. If he spends any more time in the yard drilling, Josephine will have him killed.
How do you think Josephine is handling the job of ambassador?
If this Inquisition thing doesn't work out, I may hire her to deal with the Merchants Guild. She'd own them before breakfast.
Good to know.
Back to work, then. Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
What can you tell me about this Corypheus?
I'm not exactly an expert, but ask away and I'll answer what I can.
All right, I think that's enough about Corypheus.
No problem. Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
How do you and Cassandra know each other?
You heard about the Kirkwall Chantry being destroyed? The guy responsible used to be a friend of mine. The Seeker had questions about that, and I had answers.
I'm not clear on your line of work. You're a merchant.
I'm a businessman. My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen buy and sell stores. In my spare time, I manage a spy network, and occasionally, I write books.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem. Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Where did you get that crossbow? I've never seen one like it.
Bianca? She's one of a kind. I won her from Paragon Smith Bronca in a game of Wicked Grace. She was such a sore loser. Ran off to the deep roads in a huff, and that was the last anyone saw of her.
Who's she named for?
I can't tell you.
And the reason for that is?
Complicated. There was a girl, and I made a promise. Bianca is the only story I don't tell. Sorry.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
What can I do for you?
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding a friend. You never met him, but he was at Redcliffe when everything happened. I was trying to discover what became of him, where he ended up.
And?
Nothing. Redcliffe is abandoned, and there's no trace of him. It's as if he never existed. I think the Venatori found out he was helping me. I think they killed him.
They'd kill anyone who stood in their way.
I just hoped. Maybe this once. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
You certain you're not making him into someone he wasn't?
He occasionally neglected to bathe. Should I mention that in his eulogy?
Probably not.
He wasn't perfect, but he was a fine young man. I'll miss him. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas. Roderick, that Chantry fellow who led us through the mountain from Haven. You know he died, I assume. Got us as far as the camp, and then that was it.
I'm shocked he helped us instead of running off.
I imagine being attacked by something undeniably evil changes one's perspective a bit. I helped him walk. He talked about you quite a bit. He just needed to be sure you were on Draste's chosen. He was terrified of what it meant, if it were true. But in the end, he believed. He asked me to tell you he was sorry.